According to Wines of South Africa, several black business consortia, they've invested in vineyards and wineries since the dawn of democracy. But the question that remains is, their contribution to the wine industry economy. The National Agricultural Marketing Council is a state-owned entity of the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. They have over the years been instrumental in assisting a number of black wineries to access the market. However, wine consumption in the township has been relatively slow, with a number of these, black companies struggling to penetrate the market. I didn't know this. I see a lot of people that are consuming wine, but I suppose the numbers could be better. The NAMC, together with the South African Wine Industry Trust Unit, there's also DTIC, there's also Proudly SA and a few others, including the Western Cape Department of Agriculture, are on a mission to tackle this market conundrum. I didn't know this was a challenge, but we've got the Chief Executive Officer on the line, Dr. Simphiwe Ngqangweni. Doctor, good morning and welcome to UFM.
Good morning, Prophet and the team, and good morning to the listeners. I'm humbled to be here.
No, we're grateful that we're chatting to you. I mean, I don't know if this is an appropriate question. Apparently, a wine glass a day keeps the doctor away. And is it permissible in your line of work to start your morning with a Chardonnay or Pinotage? Or you keep it clean? They don't allow that.
Yeah, no. I'm actually not a big alcohol person, but yeah.
Okay.
I encourage others to support the industry.
Oh, most definitely. Let's get into it. The National Agricultural Marketing Council. What is, your primary role generally in the sphere of agriculture?
Well, the NAMC is a state-owned entity, as you have indicated. We basically are an advisory body to the Minister of Agriculture on all things concerning agricultural marketing. So we basically also regulate certain functions within the agricultural sector. For example, the collection of levies to finance some of these essential services to make the agricultural sector grow.
Now, here I am. I want to get involved in agribusiness, the development space. This is, I understand, one of your functions. How does one get assisted to enter the wine industry?
Well, the wine industry is one of those industries that we support through these levies, and we basically oversee the collection of levies by the various industries, including the wine industry. So there are various bodies that do the actual collection within the various agricultural industries, and we monitor how that funding gets used to support, for example, the new entrants into this industry, but also how other functions such as research and development, export promotion, consumer education, and all these essential services that you need to be able to grow the industry, but also make the industry transform. So we basically monitor how these funds get used, and then we basically report to the minister from the policy point of view. But if somebody obviously wants to enter the industry, let's talk now specifically the wine industry. Very, very difficult industry to enter. Very highly capital intensive. You need a very high skill set, a specialized skill set to be able to do it. You need passion and so on. So what we do is we work through, in the wine industry specifically, the Wine Industry Transformation Unit, which is one of the bodies that handle the funds specifically for transformation. So basically, we will link you up with them, and they will take you through the whole process, and they will have to hold your hand and so on. So that's basically what we do. So we specifically work with these bodies in the various industries. But in the wine industry, it's the Wine Industry Transformation Unit.
And then while we talk about transformation, you get people that say in the agribusiness space, transformation there has been very, very slow. I mean, what are the transformation initiatives that, are currently being undertaken to address this?
Yeah, so I mean, just to give a context, in the wine industry specifically, South Africa is a huge, it's a big wine nation in terms of production. We basically produce 3% of the world's wine. We ranked about 8th largest wine producer in the world. Close to about 1 billion liters a year being produced. About 2,700 producers. But if you look at the participation of black producers and winemakers, it's very small. We're looking at about 2% of all wine being produced by black farmers. And they face various challenges. Obviously, as I said earlier, it's a very difficult industry. Very, obviously, you've got established players already in the industry. Yeah. And it tends to be very difficult for the new players to enter. But I think there's been quite a good progress being done over the past few years, because we've facilitated a process where we're getting a little bit more organized in terms of getting everybody to support the industry to transform. So we've got a database of black producers that we keep through the wine industry transformation unit. We've got about 60 of those producers in the database, and about 30 of them get supported on a yearly basis. The money is not much. You're looking at about 20 million a year. It's really not much. But there are also other innovative ideas where yesterday we visited what we call the Wine Arc in Stellenbosch. It's basically a platform where the black producers are able to basically promote their brands and within this platform. They also have an online platform where you can go and basically order and so on, look at the products. So there has been some progress being made, but it's quite slow. It's a long way to go.
Well, the next statement, I'm going to argue a little bit with it, but I suppose you're sitting in a better position as the CEO because you've got the statistics that South Africa is not considered a wine-drinking nation, especially when you compare the consumption with beer and other alcoholic beverages, I suppose, yes. The other challenge that I see, I make an example, there's a wine producer from, I suspect the person is from Attridgeville, or the company's from Attridgeville. The wine is named after Sol Plaatje's book. And then everyone else is just becomes anonymous. I mean, why does the wine industry, export or sell more than the local industry while we're there?
Yeah, I suppose it's just, tradition, if I can put it like that. But I think the local industry is very, there's a big potential for it to grow, local consumption. I think in our case, I think black people generally don't, appreciate wine much. It's probably a matter of not enough effort goes into promotional activities locally for some reason, but I think there are now efforts to basically do that. I think the COVID period was a wake-up call when the wine industry couldn't export because of the regulations and so on. So there's now after COVID some efforts to put a little bit more investment in promoting wine consumption locally, especially in the black areas. So I think it's something that there's a potential for local consumption to grow a little bit more. And we are working with all of the stakeholders in the industry to basically support more consumption of wine, especially in the townships. Oh yeah. And so on. I mean, other alcohol categories are very good at doing this. For example, they would have these festivals, for example, for gin and so on. But I think one of the things is the local industry is very highly regulated, from a health point of view. As you know, there's certain connotations in terms of the drinking of alcohol, the issues of abuse, and so on. So the government is a little bit careful to make sure that regulate the industry a bit more. So you have to jump through a few hoops to be able to promote the product and so on. So what I think is something it's work in progress.
Yeah, I was going to say that really you don't need, and I don't want to offend anyone, you don't really need that much education to grab a beer. It's always about barley and hops, and the other beverages is about the distillery. But with wine, I realized at the time when I used to consume a lot of it, when I started consuming wine, that it allowed me to really make an intelligent choice. I mean, from the nose, the tanning, the legs of the wine, and the swirling of the glass and everything else. I think once we get the public to get interested in that aspect of it, then the appreciation thereof becomes a lot more. We're going to take a short break, do the headlines, and then we come back to you and continue our discussion. We're in conversation with Dr. Simphiwe Ngqangweni. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the National Agricultural Marketing Council. Well, we're on a mission to assist with the growth of wine consumption, particularly in terms of the producers of wine in black neighborhoods. Black wineries are struggling to penetrate the market, and we know that some of you guys take wine. Like I was making an example, some of these brands you don't know who they are, and up until you get to taste these these brands, you realize, I've got an alternative here. Our discussion continues in a moment, but first your headlines. It's 8:30.
Government's decision to cut the fuel levy welcomed, and reaction to scenes of former Ekurhuleni Mayor Mzwandile Masina being violently removed from that municipality's council chambers yesterday. Details on these and more at 9.
Right. Wine consumption in the township has been relatively slow, with a number of these wineries struggling to penetrate the market. The National Agricultural Marketing Council, with the South African Wine Industry Trust Unit, along with many other players, including Proudly South Africa, the Western Cape Department of Agriculture, they're on a mission to tackle this market conundrum. When you get an opportunity in your personal space, it's a malidi, you choose how sort of official or white wine, how just steak, with a red wine. Let's like one route. I'll gladly.
You don't say you're a connoisseur.
No, quite the connoisseur. I've been on the wine farms in the Cape. Yeah.
So what you had with your grilled fish?
No,
it's white wine.
It's white wine.
Oh, yeah.
Don't come to me. You don't want to come to me with the Chardonnays and the Pinotages and
the Cab Sav.
No, I'll take you to
look at you.
Let's continue our discussion with Dr. Simphiwe Ngqangweni. We understand that the wine industry they're striving to increase wine consumption by becoming more consumer oriented. How collectively will this be achieved?
Yeah, so as I indicated, we are working together with the players within the industry to basically put a little bit more investment in the promotional activities, especially in areas where wine is, let's say, underappreciated. I think from government side, it's important that we work a little bit more together. For example, we had DTIC, the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, which we need to work a little bit closer with. You mentioned Proudly South African.
Yeah.
That they basically specialize in. That's their area of specialty, where they promote local brands and the buying of local brands and consumption of local brands. So they're a great partner to work with. So I think it's a matter of just putting together resources and really promoting the consumption of wine a little bit better.
Most definitely. You're currently in Stellenbosch. I'm saying this, very enviously. You're visiting a few of the black wineries. I mean, what's the purpose overall of your visit there?
Yeah, so we were just assessing, for example, I mentioned the Wine Arc, visiting the Wine Arc, this platform, this new platform that is really a template which could be taken to other places beyond Stellenbosch, beyond the Western Cape, into other provinces where you basically give the opportunity for the young, the smaller players and the new entrants within the industry to be able to promote their brands. Of course, the competition is tough. It's almost like swimming with the sharks, as I said earlier. There's already big established brand within the industry, and if you are still new, you're going to struggle. So I think efforts like this help. And they go a long way in terms of growing the smaller guys. So we're here just to assess what's going on in terms of the support activities around these smaller brands. And we want to take this beyond the Western Cape into Gauteng, for example. So that's really the purpose, to assess what's going on and see how we can redouble efforts to grow these smaller players.
Well, let me tell you, the smaller guy or the new person in the market, the moment they hear that something is being done to assist their development, that obviously gives them a lot of courage. And also for us consumers, the whole issue of you exploring other brands becomes a lot more exciting, because you realize all the other new names will come up and they offer something different. So thank you so much for chatting to us. Good luck on your work. And we're looking forward to chatting to you, interacting with you going forward on, the different provinces. I'm sure you'll encounter a lot more different excitement in the different provinces. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was good being here. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Dr. Simphiwe Ngqangweni is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Agricultural Marketing Council. They're a state-owned entity. Please don't say the state doesn't do anything. Of the National Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. And they've been over the years instrumental in assisting a number of black wineries to access the market. If you're in that business, he spoke about just how capital intensive it is. Don't lose heart. You develop your product. If it's good enough as a product, then you work on the marketing, you get it through to us. I made an example with the one wine brand, getting away from the established names that at some point someone in the family was beginning to enjoy a lot. I think they still have it at home. I've got a family that still enjoys wine. And that brand apparently is just as good as any. But if you didn't know about it, you wouldn't have tried it.
Yeah.
So maybe some of the challenges, and I'm sure this initiative will help as well, is to get these players, make them known,
involved,
and then it's easier for us to sample them.
That's the way, man.
That's the way to go. No, boys, you sit with me with wine. I will educate you.
I've got Jeff Nong. I think he wants to say something. He definitely enjoyed this conversation.
You and the boys.
Yes, sir.
May you please ask Doctor about this question, that why is it so difficult for one to register the label of a brand? It can be wine or spirits, because I think that there's a body that gave me a tough time when I was trying to register my labels, and I don't know, but if you can just maybe tell us more about that, the registering of the labels of the brands. Thank you.
Well, what we're going to do is we'll put you in contact with him, and then he will come back to you and he will assist you in terms of your question. But it's a valid question. By the way,
very much
Jeff
so.
Nong is in Ventersdorp. Whenever we think wine in this area, you think him.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to throw him in before we chose this
need a bottle.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
So boys, whenever you're ready and you want me to lecture you on wine, I do everything from the legs, the nose, the tanning,
When you say legs, are you talking about the leg of the actual glass?
No. You have to employ me. I can't give you a crash course.
He's telling you that he knows the stuff as well.
I don't. It's not. It's not even that.
What is it?
Pet nose.
Well, you call me.
Why are you denying it then?
And I charge by hour.
5 drinks.
Not by the glass.
Don't play around with that.